Chicago Bears trade targets. That is the theme of today's video. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, here on Chicago Bears Now. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't already for more Bears news and rumors. All right, 5 Bears trade candidates to get into, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. We'll reveal one at a time here. Bryce Callahan, cornerback for the Broncos, nickelback, obviously, that used to be a Chicago Bear. The report out of Denver and across the NFL is the Broncos have made corners available. Callahan and Kyle Fuller are the two guys that have been linked the most. If you watched our Bears rumors video from our live show as well, I'm not as into trading for Fuller. He hadn't played that well this year, and I think Vilder's actually improving a bit at CB2. Duke Shelley's been, I guess, not awful, but still not very good. You get Callahan in there at nickel, though, with Johnson, Vilder, and Callahan. I'm liking that trio a lot better than Vilder and Shelley next to Jalen Johnson. I like the idea of Callahan. He's familiar with what the Bears want to do on defense, and he's one of the better nickelbacks in the NFL. So I would try to get him. Could you get him for like a 4th-round pick? I wouldn't want to trade a 3rd because you already don't have a 1st, but for a 4th, that might be something I'm willing to do if I am Ryan Pace. Maybe even a 5th and another pick or a player. That could be an option as well. But Bryce Callahan is a player that I like, you're familiar with, and I think if the Bears are trying to make a push, you could use another corner. Should the Bears trade for Bryce Callahan? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Go ahead and cast your votes down in the comment section. T for trade or P for pass. Next up, Lael Collins, the offensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, who 18 months ago, this was considered maybe the best young tackle in the NFL, but last year he missed most of the season, or actually all the season with an injury. This year he started the year with a 6-game suspension, which comes to an end this week. Actually, I take that back. Now that I'm thinking about it, he played week 1, then he got hit with the 5-game suspension. Nonetheless, week 6 will be the end of this current suspension with Dallas, and Terrence Steele, the Cowboys' backup right tackle, has been balling out. So Dallas might look to trade Lael Collins because he has an opt-out of his contract next year anyway. And if you're Chicago, if you could get him at right tackle, whether Jermaine Ifedi is healthy or not, he obviously got banged up in that Raiders game, that's a huge upgrade over there at right tackle. Lael Collins is a damn good football player when he's healthy. Now, he was hurt all last year. He's got the suspension issue this year, so that's obviously a bit of a concern. But if you could get him by shipping out a player on defense or something like that, which is something that Dallas would probably look for as they are obviously contending, then hey, that could be a win-win for both parties at the end of the day. So keep an eye on this. I like Lael Collins. I don't know if Dallas is willing to move him right now, but they have a bevy of offensive lineman depth there with the Cowboys. So, hey, let's get one of them to Chicago because the Bears could use it. What is the bigger need? Type CB for cornerback, type OL for offensive lineman. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments, which do you think is a bigger positional need on this football team right now? Something that, well, maybe it's not a need, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's BetUS because it's the best sportsbook partner in the game, and you guys can make money throughout the NFL season. All you got to do is go to the link below. It's chatsports.com/Bears. Use our promo code BEARDOWN. Deposit $100 to give you 125% for free, hence the that bonus there, $125 for free, I should say. Guys, I'm back. I am so freaking back. I started 1-14 this year in betting. But the last 2 weeks, including last week, I went 8-2 overall, 4-1 each week. Last week, picked the Steelers in a pick'em game against the Broncos, easy win. Didn't hit the over in Philadelphia, Carolina, but I bet on the Bears plus 5.5 at Las Vegas. I won that one. Chargers -2 against Cleveland, won that one. Shout out Justin Herbert for the late heroics. And then the over was the lock of the week between Kansas City and Buffalo. Won that one 8-2 over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to tweet out my picks every single week, so get going with BetUS. And if you're liking my picks, hey, just let's roll with them. Let's make some money together with BetUS. Chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN. Next up, how about Zach Ertz? And I would not have thought this before the season because, you know, you're thinking Cole Kmet breakout. Jimmy Graham still has value in the red zone. Jesse James had a strong preseason. Let's make number one clear. Keeping Jimmy Graham, that was a mistake. Through 5 games, it's clear they should not have kept him. I get they value his veteran leadership, this and that, blah, blah, blah. They should not have kept Jimmy Graham. Cole Kmet has not done a ton either, but obviously you're invested in him with the second-round pick. Jesper Horsted, I've elevated him to tight end 3. He just had a touchdown last week, something that Graham or Kmet have not done. J.P. Holtz is just a blocker, special teams guy. Jesse James, he's had personal issues, so I don't know the latest on him as of this moment. But Zach Ertz, I think if you could get him for cheap, which I think you could, quite honestly, even though his contract does have a few $1,000,000 left on it, he's still a solid receiving option. Now, he's not what he was a couple of years ago, but 11.5 yards per catch. He does have a touchdown this year. He would easily be the best receiving tight end the Bears currently have, which is pretty disappointing in all honesty. Hopefully Cole Kmet gets more involved. He had a couple of catches against the Raiders. Hopefully he continues to have more opportunities. By the way, I will say this. Kmet's been a great blocker this year. Don't want to take that from him. But Zach Ertz could give you some punch in the red zone, could work that seam as well. I think that he could be a player to monitor, if not for the Bears, for sure for someone else across the NFL. But I do think Philadelphia could look to trade him. Subscribe to the channel here at Bears Now. The link is below. It's youtube.com/Bears Now. Chicago Bears videos all season long. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you guys are not missing any of our videos here on the channel because, hey, we do it all, baby. News, rumors, live streams, live watch parties, which have been a lot of fun so far this year. Shout out to all of you who tuned in to our win over the Raiders, the Bears win, I should say. youtube.com/Bears Now. We'll keep you guys covered all season long. Okay, Matt Hennessy, the center for Atlanta. So he's their starting center, but while I'm drawing a blank, the Falcons did draft a center fairly early on last year, their center of the future. So Hennessy could be a guy that is on the trade block if the Falcons lose a few games over the next couple of weeks leading up to the deadline. That would make them sellers, obviously. So maybe they would try to cash in on Hennessy, get a 5th-round pick or something like that. And I want to say this. Sam Mustipher hasn't been really bad, but can we sit here and say that, oh, he's the answer at center long term? I can't really say that. I think he's a very good backup and a serviceable starter, but I don't know if you want him starting 17 games a year for the next 5 years, for example. Hennessy would be an upgrade at center for sure for the rest of the season. We'll see long term what his role could end up being, whether it was with Chicago or someone else. But I just, Mustipher, he's just okay. And I think Hennessy would definitely be an upgrade, and I think a guy that could become available. All right, our last guy here, Jihad Ward for Jacksonville. He's been a guy that's bounced around. The Bears just did lose Jeremiah Tachu, who's more of an outside linebacker, but Ward can play that, that 3-4 defensive end role, and you can't have enough defensive lineman depth. As you guys know, Eddie Goldman last year really hurt, and Akeem Hicks has been banged up this year, so you could certainly add him. Khalil Mack's been banged up, obviously, even though he's playing through it. You can't have enough guys on that front, and it would give you more depth at pass rusher as well with Itachu out. So keep that in mind. Not a household name, but you could throw a conditional 7th to Jacksonville, who is obviously looking to sell. They're 0-5. So, yeah, I think that's a name to monitor. More of a cheaper trade target, but a name that maybe some of you guys have heard before. Name a player you would like to see the Bears trade for. Maybe I'm forgetting someone. Maybe you want someone else. Maybe it's one of the names I mentioned. Just type his name down below in the comments here on this show. Name a player you would like to see the Bears trade for.